So what began as student unrest in a school in Bungoma after administrators suspended a few students over indiscipline spread across the country, leading to closure of over 20 schools, disrupting learning for hundreds of students. So Kenyans thought students were merely expressing displeasure, but the destruction occasioned by burning of schools is now worrying education stakeholders, who are now recommending for easing of tough exam term measures and heightening of surveillance in schools by increasing the number of teachers on duty, especially after school hours. Dr. Swangira has more.
The indefinite closure of Moi Girls High School in Eldoret after the students staged a protest demanding the removal of their principal Wednesday, February 17th, is just but one of the latest incidents in a wave of unrest in schools since reopening in January. The banning down of more than 20 secondary schools nationwide makes 2021 go down in history as Kenya's second most destructive year after 2016, when students burnt more than 100 schools. For this reason, stakeholders in the education sector, drawn from the National Parents Association, the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association, the Ministry of Education, Usawa Agenda and other non-state actors, now want stringent measures instituted to address three critical questions at the height of unrest in schools. With thousands of school children at home, with affected schools closed, the burning question for the education is this: how do you guarantee the fundamental right of every child to learn in this difficult time? What are the options for addressing indiscipline among students? And how should we adapt the teaching and learning to the changing environment? The stakeholders proposing short-term actions to be taken to restore normalcy in schools, including heightening of surveillance at schools after class hours by deploying more teachers, easing tough Ministry of Education examination term rules which bars visits and sporting events, developing and deploying a communication strategy for both parents and learners.
It takes 1 or 2 or 5 students to light a school fire. And now we have all these thousands of students at home. Some of them are candidates with exams fast approaching, and they are victims of the fire just like everyone else. In fact, they are greater victims of the fires.
Other measures recommended include investigating each school fire and sanctioning culprits, both student and non-student, to have provision of psychosocial support for both students and teachers, and to get schools to prepare rather than to pressure the candidates as they prepare for their examinations. The final term for candidates is one in which extracurricular activities and visiting have been scrapped.
As they approach the examination, sleep is important. Children must get enough of it. Examination with examination or no examination.
In the long term, the stakeholders propose training teachers on modern methods of sanctioning indiscipline, further creating alternative schools for children who, even after all efforts by the teachers and parents, don't comply with school rules to transition to, so that incidents of unrest do not deny them the right to free and compulsory basic education. The schools should be structured in such a way that the character formation will be a major part of the curriculum, even if it means that such children take longer to cover the normal curriculum.
And any person who feels that just because he or she is a child and is going to assault a teacher, we shall come to you like a ton of bricks. I can tell you that.
And finally, creating a system that curbs the promotion of euphoric religion without spirituality, which is believed to be part of the problem. However, the stakeholders do not advocate for the abolishment of boarding schools and the reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools.
When St. Kizito's strike happened, which was very bad, caning was not illegal then. When Chankuli happened, in which we lost 69 students, caning was not illegal then. So assuming that reintroducing caning will now solve cases of indiscipline may not be very accurate, but we must understand the role that boarding schools play. We have parts of this country where even primary schools, children have to board.
In the meantime, 16 students from Kitui Secondary School were arraigned at the Kangundo Law Courts after being arrested for possessing petrol and suspected for planned arson. Senior Principal Magistrate Desderia Sorimba has ordered that 3 more days be given for investigations to be completed as they remain detained at the Kangundo police station. Dorcas Wangira, Citizen TV, Nairobi.